How long would it take a person to reach the peak in their chosen field? There are geniuses who, at a young age, touch something and know instantly this is it. The process then becomes those talents be discovered by the market. But the reality is every craft follows the same punishing process of skill refinement until you hit a market connection. It's a path full of hurt, disappointment, and pain. So think about it. If you're called towards something extremely specific, but that path is full of suffering, it's almost like something deep inside you is wired for punishment. In this clip, we'll explore the make or break point in the pursuit of any craft, the invisible kill zone where most people quit, and the process that separates those who reach the peak from those who fall short. So the starting point is here, where you're pulled towards something different. This path already puts you out of sync with how everything around you is structured. MrBeast attended college for only 2 weeks before abandoning it entirely to pursue YouTube full-time. James Cameron bypassed formal education for blue-collar work while using his spare time to teach himself filmmaking and special effects. Vera Wang left a top position in fashion journalism at 40 to start a bridal boutique. Something inside these people pulled them toward a very narrow path. And it's a path where they're isolated from the start because most people can't support things they don't understand. So many are forced to go alone. For some, the trajectory is fast, as in you develop your skills and the market recognizes and rewards you for it. The creator of One Piece, Ichiro Oda, got the story published at the age of 22. So Oda is an outlier because the market responded to his work instantly. But for most, the grind is an extremely slow process of trading your time for a payoff you can't see. You're basically watering a barren field, waiting for something to grow. So when nothing happens, do you keep going or do you leave it all behind? So a couple years ago, I hit a string of failures back to back. And the most painful one was a project I worked on for 6 months. That one failed hard. After that project, I was completely lost. So my closest friends and family members suggested that maybe I should start over in a new lane by accepting a low-paying job and work my way up. I got so angry. It was like a knife that went straight to my heart because these people are the ones who've seen me win. These people are the ones who know what I'm capable of more than anyone. But after seasons of losses, they stopped believing and basically implied that I wasn't good enough. And in those moments where you have no one, you're left with only yourself. So I sat in silence and said to myself, I know who I am and what I'm capable of. No one else. So I stayed in my lane of craft in the midst of pain and confusion. And 11 months later, something broke through. So the question is, if the path you're on already has your whole heart, do you have the stomach to water a barren field until the market finally sees what you believe deep inside? And what do you hold on to when you see nothing grow? Here are 3 anchors that will keep you in the lane. The first is self-awareness. The world only sees external manifestations, the numbers, the results, the awards. You're the only one who knows what's inside. So when people around you only see a barren field and tell you to quit, you go inside instead. Journal your thoughts. Ask yourself the hard questions. This is like putting on a helmet that guards you from the noise. The second anchor is proof of concept. When you only hear silence from the ground, your emotions will lie to you. They'll tell you it's over. That's why you need a code analysis of your trajectory. You look at the examples, case studies, trends. You're looking for signals, whether this path still has a chance or not. But logic can only take you so far. That's where the third anchor comes in. God's timing. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to gain and a time to lose. God has made everything beautiful in its time. We suffer in the process because we think things should happen on our time. We think we've watered enough, stayed out here long enough. Therefore, the harvest should happen right now. But the reality is some things are just not in our control. But seasons of barrenness don't last forever. We do our part, operating at max capacity, while recognizing that God is the one who makes the fields grow. So these are the 3 anchors that will keep you locked in. But surviving the silence is only half the battle. The deciding factor between those who reach the peak and those who fall short is the blueprint they're running on. Next is the 2 blueprints for the breakthrough. So across almost any high-level discipline, you'll find 2 distinct types of players. The first is the intuitive. These are individuals born with raw natural abilities. This doesn't mean they neglect the technical aspects of their craft, but for them, their natural instincts for their craft are so finely tuned that they create high-level results that resonate with the market. In football, we have Neymar and Messi. In cinema, we have directors like Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese, who create purely from their own artistic vision. On YouTube, we have PewDiePie, who reach over 100 million subscribers through raw, authentic connection with his audience. That's the intuitive player. Next is the strategist. A player who's a strategist doesn't leave their success up to chance. Instead, they combine high-level optimization and strategies with their abilities to create high-level outputs. In football, Cristiano Ronaldo optimizes every lever in his game. On YouTube, MrBeast utilizes various datasets to engineer his content. In filmmaking, we have James Cameron, who categorizes himself as a commercial filmmaker. His strategy for filmmaking is to hit the middle of the bell curve, where he's communicating to the greatest number of people. And just look at his stats. These are the strategies. So 2 distinct blueprints, both reaching the peak. The question is, are you running the right blueprint for your lane? Most people get stuck watering a barren field because they're running the wrong blueprint for their specific lane. So you evaluate your blueprint if it can actually take you to the peak. And what's interesting is you'll find both blueprints winning across almost any industry. Take music. You see Justin Bieber, who's a pure intuitive talent. Then look at Blackpink, who's running on a strategist blueprint. Not because each member is a strategist, but because of the industrial build of K-pop. Trainees are put through rigorous trainings until they're stage ready. Or in business, where you think you need to be a strategist to win. But then we see an intuitive talent like Steve Jobs, who was an artist focused on product design. Yet, he went down as the GOAT across various fields. So both blueprints can win. But there are guardrails. First is filling in the gaps. Take Steve Jobs. He was an innovative artist. He knew running a business was not his forte, so he hired operational experts to fill in those gaps in order for the business to grow. And the second guardrail is pivoting. A lot of people think they can win being an intuitive, but the reality is they're not Steve Jobs. If you don't have the natural game sense, then you just don't. But it's not over, because you can pivot and operate a strategist blueprint for your lane. That way, your success rate becomes exponentially higher, and you won't be watering barren fields any longer. So if you zoom out and look at the whole journey, where you're pulled towards something different, and that path isolates you from everyone else. The pain is that you put in massive work and time in your lane, and you know you're good. But the market stays silent. The ground remains barren. The anchors and blueprints help you stay the course, but they don't replace the work. There's a story of a master craftsman who works in a small limb workshop. Every day, he does the same motion: cut, shape, refine. Outside his shop, the world moves fast. People beating loud, getting seen, getting results. But inside, nothing changes. It's just him and the work. Years pass. Then one day, someone walks in. They look at the work. Precise, refined, undeniable. And they ask, why is no one talking about this? His answer was because no one applauded the invisible years while it was being built. The Mosul bamboo grows in the same way. For years, much of its growth happens underground. From the surface, it can look like nothing's happening. There's little to no visible sign of life above ground. But beneath the dirt, the morsel is building an underground network, preparing for the height it will eventually reach. The growth happens in the dark. Then, when it finally breaks the surface, the growth isn't slow. Under the right conditions, the morsel bamboo can grow up to 90 centimeters in a single day, and within a matter of weeks, it can shoot up rapidly, eventually reaching 20 to 30 meters in height. What looked like a barren field was actually the accumulation of unseen work and faith building toward a breakthrough.